Welcome back, guys. Let's jump in. Keep listening.
I was going to say, do you think at any point, either in relationship, well, none of us here are married, but just do you think either in relationships or marriages, based on like people that you've spoken to, do they kind of help each other in some ways? So like, okay, content keeps you married to the person or keeps you in a relationship with the person, but at any point, does packaging then help to like oil the relationship or oil the marriage? Discuss. Or would you just say, okay, like the initial packaging and then the content that you've experienced just seal the deal and that's it? You don't need packaging again, or do you?
I think for me, if you look at it from a biblical perspective, and whenever the Bible ever gets to introduce a man or a woman, or even in a romantic context, it talks about Rebecca being a fair lady. It talks about David being a beautiful man. It talks about Saul's shoulders standing up above every other person you see. So, like, say that introduces something you see. I think so. When you talk about packaging, you need every single person is beautiful. Let me say that you see. Because sometimes we get that some people are ugly. You know, if you actually sit down and look at it, every single person is beautiful. The problem is the packaging, is the branding. Most people don't know how to brand themselves. So someone that has a certain type of body wants to wear a body cone, or does that make sense, right? It doesn't mean there's something about you can wear that can go with the shape of your body, whether you have a pear shape or whatever. So I think they both go hand in hand, you see. And I think if someone starts losing themselves or losing their package, there is an issue. There's something more. I think every single person should want to be able to give their best at every single point in time, even though we don't get it at every single point in time. But our conscious thinking should be giving our best at every single point in time. Just the way we give our best to God, should be able to give our best to man in our personal lives also. So I think it has to do with discipline, you know. Because I use another as an example. Whenever I say Laolu, he's always responsible. Does that make sense, right? So I can go anywhere and mention Laolu's name. You can tell, Laolu is always clean shaven. He's always dressed nice. His clothes are always ironed and everything. You see, and I think for Laolu it goes beyond law. You know, it's just a fine gentleman. Does that make sense? You see, so that is who he is.
Don't worry, it's going to people. So then
that's who he is, you see, and he's a fine gentleman both in packaging and in content. So he's who he is, you see. Does that make sense? You see, so I think there has to be that process of continuing.
Okay. And I'd just like to draw on like from what you said, so about like packaging and that continuity. Like I've heard people say this, like say for example a man and woman who are married, they just had a nasty argument, and then especially for guys, I guess because you guys are probably more like physically, should I say, stimulated or physically moved basically than women. So the next moment the guy sees his wife, like he sees her silhouette and he's like, maybe like let's get down or something, and the woman is like, what? We just finished arguing now, kind of thing. So in a sense, for the guy in particular, that her packaging helped to move them from that place of like arguing to back into that like that love area in the marriage kind of thing. So I think, whereas if, say for example, she was not maybe dressed as nicely, he wouldn't necessarily maybe have been as stimulated. So could you say that that's an example where packaging does help to, I don't know, help the marriage?
I think definitely. I think both go. They're both important areas. I don't think any of them can be minimized at all. So as a guy, for example, one of the things you're looking at is, okay, how do my kids look like when they go outside, right?
Okay. Oh, I thought you meant like a relationship.
No.
You're like, wow. That is some serious like long-term vision.
I mean, it's a reality, and I know a few guys they do that, and this is the reason why the so-called trophy wife thing goes on. It's okay, I want to go out with my wife and my kids, and they're all looking presentable, right? True. But it's hard for you to do that when you're not particularly in that mental state yourself. Does that make sense? So I think it begins to graduate gradually in terms of how I see you inside. We talk about life generally, but then we're not always going to be talking about life.
Sure.
There are other things you want to look at. You don't want to just calling back say, oh, your kids will not come today. They look rough. Their uniform. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Or this is just one interesting thing is like you don't want your friends commenting like what happened? You didn't she didn't fix her hair today or something.
You downgraded since she got married.
Yeah, even though she just gave you the best financial advice for your family. Because sometimes it detracts from the important things.
Does, yeah.
And I think it depends on what. Hopefully, you guys will have defined your family values as life went on, because those are the things that then guides you as to what is important to you at different times in life. From some of the married people that I know, it's just important. It's important the way you look internally and externally.
And also, like in terms of like preventing temptation in your marriage as well. So if you don't look after yourself, okay, let me take it away from the woman, but even for the man, like if you allow yourself to develop a pot belly, you don't take care of yourself, your wife is more susceptible to temptation, because she'll now start noticing all the fine guys with six-pack. So you're not helping your marriage in that sense by not like continuing, like you said, continuing to take care of yourself. So it's both ways. So whilst packaging is not the focus, it is quite important for the health of your marriage. So
yeah, I think definitely it's I can't remember what Kofo said earlier in terms of the packaging when you do it. I think it's about it says a bit about you as a person, like what's important to you. To say, okay, if it's someone that generally takes care of themselves and all of a sudden they're not paying particular attention to it,
something is wrong.
Maybe not necessarily, but is this becoming less of a priority? Or their true self is coming out. Is the true self coming out? Because I do understand, ladies, life gets busier, especially if you have kids, and then you don't particularly have extra time to do the makeup or whatever, or to do the hair is less of your priority for you. Yeah, so in terms of like, okay, is there something else you need to pay attention to? And also as a husband as well, there's a bit of responsibility if your wife used to look amazing and suddenly she's not as much as she used to be.
Bad,
so potentially there's a bit of deficiency there that you could look at. It's just a normal face of life, and then it's just something. But I think it's always good to be aware of these things. I mean, guys that used to go to the gym regularly 3 days a week and he's getting his body into there, and suddenly it's comes once in 2 weeks or once a month or whatever. Then the wife might say, okay, something to look at, or maybe it's just life has gotten busier, and then more important things have come into play. So I think it's about looking at what's our family values, what are the things that remain important to us, and then take it from there. But then, it's a good way to fight temptation, definitely.
It is.
I mean, that's really I think, sorry, I was just going to add, I think from what people who are married or people who kind of run different sort of relationship type things, there's this whole idea of maintaining your packaging or rebranding your packaging so that you keep things fresh. I think the content will always be relevant on a day-to-day when you were doing life at home, and when you see that person day in, day out. Sometimes people even work with the people they're married with. I guess there is this sort of complacency and this I'm used to this, but I think it's almost like a sign of respect, honor, and showing that you value somebody if you are making the effort. So it's not just people's love languages are different and all that kind of stuff, but I think if you're making the effort for somebody, I think that sort of indirectly says I value you, and I know that this is important to you. And if you're both doing it, then it's like, okay, I guess we talked about temptation briefly, but again, that's kind of saying like, on this front, I'm keeping my marriage strong, and I'm reducing avenues for which like anything can come and kind of like disrupt that relationship or that flow. So just wanted to
I agree with you 100%. I think one thing I would just like to draw from what both of you have said also is, I think we'll talk about beyond just being in a relationship or being attracted to somebody. When we talk about marriage, we need to be honest. Things change, and
which things?
I'm gonna get it. I think we need to gravity happens to all. You know, we need to have this thing I call self responsibility. You see, in the sense that I need to know that, like Bible says, let the breast of the wife of their youth satisfy thee.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It means the breast of the wife of their youth. It means she's not a youth anymore. It's not as firm as fresh anymore. You see, you know. But you make a commitment to be satisfied with the person you have chosen to be with, for better or for worse. You see, so we can have an excuse. Yes, you know, I was one who said, you know, we need to always look better and do better. You see, but that cannot be an excuse for temptation. For when a man is tempted by his own lust. It has nothing to do with his wife. It has nothing to do with his husband, you see. Because most of the time what the media teaches us these days is, oh, that is what tempts people. But that's not the script we should live by. Secondly, you know, looking good, your body, going to the gym and stuff, is something you're doing for yourself. Does that make sense, right? And if it's something you're doing for somebody else, you will be disappointed.
It will be very short-lived as well.
That's the idea of disappointment, you see.
Because they may not
They might not just afraid, they might not see it because life get busy, and that is when
don't have for 5 hours.
because people are stressed out at work, you know, and you know, and they get home. And you know, and that's when resentment begins to build up, and it's all these pressures we put around ourselves that damages relationships, that damages marriages, because we're pressuring us. Even when we look at the idea of beauty, it has changed over time. You never read the scripture, and the scripture will say, "Oh my God, Sarah had a big bum or a big batty." It is a thing in this 21st century. You see, the scripture was talking about women being fair. It was talking about how they looked. Does that make sense, right? So beauty changes. In the Roman time, we're not looking for a skinny girl with a big butt. They were looking for a woman that looked a little bit plumpy. That was the idea of beauty in the Roman time. You see, not skinny, not meat, but that was the idea of beauty. You see, and some at the time in Africa they look like one who had the big hips because there's a person who can, you know, give them children because their focus was on the next generation. You see, so the idea of beauty changes. You see, yes, every single person should take care of their body, not just for themselves but for God. You know, to be able to live long, to do the things God has called them to do. You see, you know, but at the same time, we need to be able to look beyond that. If you've chosen somebody and something changes, you need to live with it. The best you can do is pray for them and walk with them. You see, and even when something changes, that means there's something like when people start losing themselves, people go through stuff. You know, sometimes I see somebody, you know, getting big. You don't know what they've gone through. Maybe it's a mental thing or why they went from gym from 3 days to 2 days. That people go through stuff, you say. So you need to know, okay, what has happened here? Because I believe if somebody is on their A game, they would not want to be looking a certain way. You know, when you're your A game, you just want to go out, just want to have fun, you want to buy the right clothes, you know, you want to go to the gym because it takes a sense of motivation to go to the gym. You see. So when things like that start reducing, there's another issue. You see. So we need to be satisfied with whoever we've chosen and work together as a couple because none of us are perfect.
True.
I mean, I think something else I've noticed recently. I was in sort of in a kind of a predominantly Nigerian church, and one thing I've noticed recently in some of the women actually is that quite a lot of them are going back to colleges or spending more time in the gym, improving themselves. But whether it's peer pressure or just realizing that I need to improve myself. But I think it's something I've noticed recently in this particular community, in people saying if there's an opportunity for growth, either externally or internally, I will go for it. Obviously, different seasons in life. I mean, it's amazing how this kind of reality is coming into play. Is that sometimes as human beings, we get comfortable in what is sort of acceptable, and then I think to an extent sometimes you just realize that, you know what, you've got capacity for more. You've got capacity for more, and I think it depends on who you have around you, I suppose, in terms of like, okay, you two can do it. Who are your role models? Who's your mentor? Beyond just your family, your husband, because they could be your best, cheerleaders. But then and is it the best thing for you going forward? Because life is transient, isn't it? And we all have these moments. It's just about being self-aware, I suppose. Like, okay, cool. Is this all I want for my life? Or is this all I wanted for my life?
Yeah.
And then figuring out, and then I think it's about focusing on those things, and then you begin to find ways, hopefully, to be able to sort of improve on those things. Life is all about improvement, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also, which we've kind of touched on, but we've not like necessarily called out this word. But I think one thing we talked about is the motive as well. So what's the motive behind your packaging is very important, because it can produce different results. Like, because if, say for example, you're a lady and you're going to maybe predominantly like African church, or a church where you see loads of fine brothers, and you're now packaging yourself because you know that today I'm coming back home with a big fish or whatever, like, you know, there's a certain way like the lady will dress, or the other way, even like a guy, you go and do shape up because you know that today I'm going for my friend's wedding, I must come back with one of the single ladies there, that kind of thing. Whereas that shouldn't really be your motivation. Like, you should be, yes, like you said, like we're dressing for God first and foremost. Like we're accountable to God because He created us. Like whatever I'm wearing, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm feeding myself, with either actual food or like taking in like music or words, whatever. Like I'm accountable to God for me first and foremost. And it's important that when, say for example, if I'm going for an event or whatever, like I'm dressing first and foremost as a daughter of God. So God needs to look at me and say, okay, yes, you're okay to go out that door because like you comply basically with my standards and my requirements. But yeah, so that has to be the person's motivation rather than I'm going out to catch fish, or I'm going out for the kill or whatever. Like that, and that is where like the heart of the person is important as well. And that has, I don't know, I'm not necessarily landing, but that has to be our motivation, like rather than I'm just dressing the part, or I'm just dressing.
But those can align sometimes.
Yeah, oh no, so it's fine. Like it's okay to go out like with the expectation that okay, I'm going to meet somebody today. That's fine, but that shouldn't be your sole motivator, because should you now not meet the person, will you not say, so I now wasted all that makeup for us? Like, I mean, it comes back to
you guys are saying the
disappointment.
same thing. Like when you said, okay, what happens after you meet the person? Because
Yeah.
the reason why you did what you did was for the person.
Exactly.
And now that you've met them,
the person.
now you now meet the real self. Like, this is me.
So the right motivation has to be then, that there's nothing wrong in going out to say, yes, I want to meet someone new. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but that shouldn't be your sole focus, because like you said, you will be disappointed sometimes if number one, nobody notices, or in fact you now get there's no time. You're like, you wasted your time.
Or you attract the wrong ones.
Exactly.
You're like,
You're gonna attract the one that is actually looking for that. Do you get me? Well, that's not the kind of person you want. Yeah, it's just getting our hearts in the right places.
place, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, which is it's great, but I think it's the motive for behind everything we do.
Yeah.
Subconsciously comes out
Yeah. Exactly.
in our final presentation. I mean, some people are good at what's it called, like putting it all aside.
Yeah.
But I think it's about the other person as well, in terms of the real people can almost sense the realness in you.
So we'll touch on that. It's one of the
Oh, okay. Now we're jumping a bit further. I was looking at you.
You are looking. But yeah, we'll get to that point. I was going to just ask about like makeup. What do you guys like? Because you're guys, like, what do you like makeup? Do you not like makeup? Are you indifferent?
Do you think it's a cover up?
Exactly. Do you like a lot of makeup?
Fake thing,
exactly.
or
When you guys
is it just I have mouth? Is it part of creativity and just?
Is this off record? Generally for makeup, I'm not a big fan of too much of makeup.
Okay.
What's it called? Or makeup all the time. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
I think there's a bit of makeup that makes sense. It's just no. Okay.
I guess I was gonna describe what counts as too much. Just describe what that looks like. Not
Gosh, it's a bit tricky. Like, okay, so I know there's this thing that sometimes ladies do photo shoots thing.
Yeah.
And you do the makeup for the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find it excessive.
Okay.
And then I've got a friend like, oh, look at my photo shoot. I'm like,
It doesn't
did you
look
pay for
real.
this, or was it an add-on? Because it's just like, this is a good point. Thanks, Jemimah, for helping me out. It's like, but that's not real you, kind of thing.
Okay.
Not every day. You.
It's like, yeah, can we just get past this makeup?
Yeah.
So that's why I think sometimes like, can we just get past this makeup and get to real you?
Yeah.
Because you can tell that, gosh, too much is going on.
Yeah.
And I think it depends on the audience. But for me personally, a bit of makeup is good because it looks nice. I think apparently there's a bit of a skill to it as well.
Oh yeah.
Skill to what?
To the makeup.
Lots of makeup.
Then.
Oh, I
To
should
makeup
there's
as
skill.
Yes,
So exactly. So there's a bit of for me now.
it's a real artist work.
It's a real artist work.
yeah.
Not everybody has that skill.
Exactly. So for me now, I didn't appreciate if you do a good job. I'm like, oh wow, she's actually good.
You can transform someone with makeup.
Yeah, I mean, see the before. I've seen the before and after. Before and after.
Who's that?
Whoever created that thing is.
You went to go and bring a long lost friend.
It's true.
Yeah, which is like sometimes like okay, if you've done a good makeup, then it's a bit of attractiveness to it to say yes, this is quite a bit of effort.
Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. See you soon.